Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and it is Tech Tuesday. So, normally on Tech Tuesday, I've gone over Paratech, Kali, Black Arch, and then some different offensive security tools that do like OSINT. So the Discover scripts from Lee Baird. I've done setting up Metasploit, all those different things. Today, we're going to put a different spin on it. Today, we are going to look at Security Onion. And it is a very, very valuable blue team tool. And it's valuable not only in the effect of what it can do, all right, but the fact that it is free, it is open source. So you can take a look at it. You can look at everything it can do. You can look at all the programs it runs. And it doesn't cost you a dime. All right. Now, there are features, there are things that can be commercialized and paid services, but at its core, it is free. And it is very much used in lab environments. A lot of corporate environments use it, but it is the perfect tool for you to use so that you can get a better handle on being a security analyst in other blue team fields at your home, on your own network, in your own lab environment. So today, that's what we're going to look at, is we're going to look at installing Security Onion to VMware Workstation. And then from here, we're going to split off. We got a bunch of other different shows lined up coming down the line. Eric Bellardo Cyber is going to do the Cyber Papa. He's going to do a show on Wazoo, or Wazaa. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've got tomorrow, we've got Devil Ray on Devil Ray Pen Testing here on Cyber Warrior Studios. He's releasing a video, another offensive video, which is where you're going to find the majority of your offensive security content from now on. But he's doing a collaboration with the Republic of Hackers, so they're releasing their video tomorrow afternoon. So a lot of great things lined up. Now, without further ado, let's get into this and let's start installing Security Onion onto VMware Workstation. If you're not aware, you can go to securityonionsolutions.com. Their link is going to be down below. Go to their downloads and you download the ISO from there. There are ways to install this straight to Ubuntu and CentOS, but that's not what we're doing. We're installing their ISO. So let's go ahead and let's get right into it. So again, if you want to find the ISO, I'll put the link down below in the downloads. You can check it out. I've already got it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a new virtual machine. Now, for anybody that's set up virtual machines before, this is a refresher. You should know how to set up virtual machines or create new ones. But for those that don't, follow along and follow along closely. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose our ISO. Now, like I said, I already downloaded this. And this is version 2.3.61. So you can go through verifying the signature and all that stuff whenever you go and do it. I've already done all that stuff. So we're going to grab this and we're going to hit open. Now, keep in mind, this is CentOS 7 64-bit. So that's what you're going to choose when you go to install this. Now, it wants to know what we're going to call our virtual machine. So we're going to call it Security Onion. And then we're going to drop it into my extended storage. And I'm going to create a new folder for it called Security Onion. Security Onion. All right, and we're going to put our virtual machine there. Now, recommended disk size for this is 200 gigs, so that's what we're going to give it. And we're going to do as a single file, just because I'm not going to move this from computer to computer. It's just going to stay on my machine. So we're going to make it a single file. And then we got to customize our hardware. So for Security Onion Solutions recommends that we do 12 gigs of RAM. I'm going to just up it up here to 16, just because I have that availability. And then 4 cores. Now, you need 2 network adapters. One of them is your management adapter, the one at which you access Security Onion itself, so the web UI and everything like that. And you have options. You can do this bridged, all right, your management interface, if you want to access it from any computer on your network. Or you can run it in NAT, in which case you can only access it from your host. Now, there's more that goes into it. There's a lot of networking terminology and things like that between bridge and NAT. I'm not going to get into today. If you want to look it up and do some research, feel free, but that's not what this is about. I'm going to use a NAT connection for my management, and then I'm going to add another network adapter, and this is going to be your sniffing port, or rather your monitoring adapter, your sniffing adapter. And this is going to be in bridge because of the fact that I want it to monitor traffic on my entire desktop. All right, I'm not just trying to isolate this host. So we're going to say bridged and click off of it. You can see that it changed. And we're going to hit close. Finish this up because we have everything. And then we're going to power this bad boy on. So when we first do this, what it's going to do is install CentOS 7. That's the initial installation is for that. There's a few security onion tools and things that come down with the ISO, but the initial installation is mainly to install CentOS 7. So we're going to let this go, and here in a minute, it'll bring us to the installer, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're going to hit enter to begin the installation process here. And it's going to go through, and it's going to load up and validate all of the hardware database and all that stuff. It's going to validate all those settings and take us into the installer. All right, now because this is a VM workstation, we don't need to worry about losing data on the drive because we are just now creating this drive. Now, if this was on bare metal, or in which case you have like a dual boot system, or you want a dual boot, or whatever the case may be, I would not recommend dual booting Security Onion, just because it loses its purpose. If you shut it down, then it can't monitor anything. So I would, if I'm going to install this in bare metal, I would let it be known that if you dual boot it with the intent of just saving that data that is on that other partition or whatever for later, that's fine. But the moment you shut down Security Onion, you lose access to the monitoring capability in the web UI. Well, you get the idea. So we're going to say yes here because it's just going to overwrite everything. Put in that. All right. And now it's going to run through and do the install. So this is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to let it go, and I'll be back with you guys as soon as it's done. All right, so we're running the post installation scripts now, and as soon as this is done, it's going to go in and ask us to reboot the system. So it'll take a few minutes here, and then we're going to reboot. We're going to get to that screen. We're going to reboot, and then we'll get into the Security Onion configuration. All right, so here we are now. It says initial install complete. Press enter to reboot. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. It's going to restart. And as soon as it restarts, it's going to immediately bring us up to the Security Onion configuration. And from there, we'll go through that process. I'll show you guys the initial login to the web UI, and we'll be done for the day. So let's go ahead and log in. All right, so here we go. It immediately takes us into this setup. So yes, we're going to continue. So, and this does explain that it's going to use keyboard navigation, and there's different use cases for Security Onion, and it's going to show you a few of them when you get into it. So you could configure just the network if you wanted to. We're going to run the standard Security Onion install for us. And here's where we're talking about the different types of install. So you have evaluation mode, standalone, distributed if you're going to install different you're going to install this in different places and have different services running on it. Standalone if you just want to use it to import PCAP or log files. So you use it, you're not going to monitor anything. It's just a system that you ingest data from a file and can evaluate what it says. A lot of times you would do things like that in incident response. If you don't have an actual IR set up, you could use something like this to investigate the logs or PCAP files or whatever the case may be. We're going to go ahead and install this in standalone version. We're going to hit OK. Now, Elastic Stack version 7.11 requires us to agree to their terms and conditions. So you type in agree and hit enter. And we're not going to air gap this because it does have internet access. It's on our own VMware Workstation, and we're giving it internet access. So we're going to say the manager has internet. And we're just going to call this Security Onion. And it just says use something different to avoid hostname conflicts. I don't have any other hosts on my network named Security Onion. So that's what we're going to call this. We don't need a description. That's optional. So we're going to hit enter. And this is where you choose your management NIC. And again, ENS33, and it's in numerical order, is the very first network adapter we enabled, or that came enabled, and that is our NAT configuration. So we're going to hit that and then hit OK. And we're going to do DHCP. Whoops. You can do static if you know what subnet and everything is going to fall into. You can do that. I'm just going to do DHCP for now, just so everything gets assigned to it. Understand that if you reboot this system and that lease renews, it could inevitably change that IP address on you, which can mess up a lot of other settings. But because this is a lab environment, once I get done with the setup, I can just snapshot it and it'll pull the old IP because it'll be booted up as it was. So we're going to say yes to keep DHCP, and we're going to hit OK to continue. And yes, we want direct. We're going to connect directly to the internet. I don't have a proxy server for this to proxy through right now. This takes a few seconds, and then we get in here. So as you can see, please add NICs to the monitor interface. So we're going to use that second NIC that's bridged, ENS34. And we're going to let this install updates automatically every 8 hours if available. And this is where we enter the home networks that are available. So I'm going to go ahead, and the easiest way to do this is to, if you're on Windows, just type in ipconfig. If you're on Mac, type in ifconfig. But it'll give you the IP addresses, the default gateways for all of your adapters. So my primary, whoops, 86.0/24, and then for any host-based VMs, I have a different subnet. Now, that's not to say this is actually going to communicate with that subnet, but just to add it in there. And then finally, the one that actually gives out the NAT address to this box as well is that one, and we're good to go. So we're going to hit enter. And we're going to install Manager with recommended settings. We're not going to go in and do an advanced configuration today. Now here, you get metadata from different log files. And then you also have a network intrusion detection system here. Suricata will always run as the NIDs, but you have the option of using Zeek or Bro as what is going to ingest logs. And I'm not personally going to do that. I'm going to use Suricata for everything, just so I have one system that ingests everything and we can work through. However, if you like Zeek or prefer Zeek, you can go through there. But for this case, we're going to use Suricata. And then this is where your IDS rule sets come from. So there is a pro version of emerging threats, and that requires a license to be paid for. And then there's also the Talos, Cisco Talos rule set for Snort. But again, that requires you to pay as well. So we're just going to use emerging threats open source as it's free. And next we're going to get into what services we want to install. Now, because I'm going to be doing some collaboration with Eric Bellardo Cyber, we're going to leave Wazoo or Waza in here is installed. And I'm going to install everything else because I'm going to be doing more and more Security Onion videos with you guys so that we can take a look at all this stuff. So we're going to install it all. Do we want to keep the default Docker IP? Yeah, I have no reason to change it. Now you just come here and you type in an email address that they can use to create an administrator account for the web UI. We're going to type in a password, renew, all right. And then we're just going to use the IP address to access the web interface. We're not going to try to give it an FQDN or a host name or anything like that. and then we set our password for the security onion remote. All right, and we're going to install the NSM components with recommended settings. We don't have to configure them each individually. Again, if you want to do that, you can. We're not going to. And I'm not worried about running multiple Suricata processes just because I'm not going to have a lot of traffic. I'm not going to have a lot of logs going to it. For the most part, I'm going to restrict as much as I can down the line as we get into more configuration. And then we'll tune it so that it can process more. And then if we need to enable more processes, we'll look into enabling that later on. I'm not going to configure any NTP servers. I'm not really concerned. Again, this is my local machine. However, if you want to, you can, and you can go ahead and configure those. Now, for Node, we're going to use the recommended settings again. Again, we are doing this the easy way. This is just to get us into it and get us a feel for Security Onion. We're not going through anything advanced right now. However, later on down the line, as we become more proficient with Security Onion, we can go through, do a reinstall, and look at the different advanced settings. And we want to have Security Onion allow access to the web tools? Yes, we do. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to enable my entire private subnet so that no matter if I change configurations, if I change the type of network adapter I'm using or change any networking, as long as I still fall into that 192.168 subnet, I can still access this information. All right, now here is going to go through, update all the packages, install everything, and get us to a point where it'll spawn the web UI. And we'll look at the web UI from my host machine. So while this is doing that, I'm going to go ahead, take a break, and as soon as this gets done, I'll be right back with you guys. All right, so as we're nearing the end of the Security Onion setup, what it's doing now is running the Security Onion allow-a for that subnet that we had set up earlier. And understand that that is allowing us to access the management capabilities of it. And now it's starting all the services. So as soon as this is done and it takes us into that, what we have here is finished standalone installation. And to access the web interface, we are going to access it at 192.168.230.133. So we're going to hit OK to reboot. And once it comes back up, all the services start up. And we're going to go ahead in and access the web UI. Accept the risk. There we go. So we're going to use contact@cyberwarriorstudio.com. And that's the one that we set up when we did the Security Onion configuration. So then we type in our password, and there we go. So now we have officially installed Security Onion onto VMware Workstation, and we are going to be getting into a lot more of this later on down the road. But you can see we have Kibana, Grafana, CyberChef, Playbook, Navigator. Everything is here. We're just going to have to go through and verify logs and things like that. So I'm going to leave it here for now. I was grateful for you to tune in, and I hope to see you all next time. Now, before we get to next time, I would really, really love it if you guys would go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified anytime a new video comes out, and also make sure you tune in every Thursday to Eric Bellardo Cyber for new battlefields. And every Friday for Security Happy Hour, we're live as well, right here on Cyber Warrior Studios for Security Happy Hour. This Friday, that is the 20th of August, we will have two episodes, one at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to accommodate for our friends in the UK. So it's my Across the Pond special. I'm going to have JJ Davey, Paul Charles, and Ben Doherty on. And then again at 7 p.m., we're going to have Lola on. So make sure you tune into that. Love you guys. It's been a blast doing this. It took me a while to get this working for you. So I'm glad I was able to get it working, get it recorded so that you guys can see it. Other than that, look, I will see you all next week. And again, like, subscribe.